Hi guys, my name is Emily and I am an exercise and movement science student from the University of Vermont. I'm a junior this year and a few years ago I was diagnosed with idiopathic condylar resorption. For those of you who are unfamiliar with this disease, I'm going to be explaining a little bit about what it is, how it progresses, and sort of symptoms and my story and experiences with it. I'm going to be posting a series of videos about different aspects of the disease, such as treatment options, symptoms that people don't really talk about, along with recovery and healing and stuff like that. So I hope you enjoy this. I'm going to begin with my story. So a few years ago, I was diagnosed with idiopathic condylar resorption. It began with just some light clicking and popping in my jaw, and it was very pain-free at first. This went on for about a year until it slowly progressed to the point where I wasn't able to open my mouth past a certain point anymore. Normally it would begin with, I'm going to demonstrate because it'll be easier. You open your mouth, it'll get stuck, and then it pops open more, which is the pop. So it would go to here, and then pop open after that. It got to the point where I could not do anything past where it would initially get stuck. And then, so I was a little concerned with it. If I tried to go past that point, it was pretty painful. So I went to my dentist, and she told me that it sounded to her like I had TMJ, which it's temporomandibular joint irritation, basically is what it is. So you just get some pain, clicking, uncomfortability in this area. So she prescribed me a night guard, which is basically a sports tooth guard, often called mouth guards. They're called different things, different places. And it was made out of like this, it wasn't quite as spongy as a mouth guard is. It was made out of some pretty stiff plastic that molded to my mouth. A lot of people who grind their teeth at night or clench their teeth, even subconsciously, will have TMJ, so she thought that it might help. I wore this for about 6 months, and then over that 6 months, things were not getting better. They were getting a lot worse. It progressed to the point where I could only open my mouth a few centimeters, and I had a very, very restricted diet because of, well, A, the limited range of motion, and B, it was incredibly painful for me to bite things off and tear, such as if I wanted to eat a piece of bread. That act of biting down and tearing the food off was very, very painful. And then if I was able to actually get the food into my mouth, it hurt to chew the food, unless it was soft like yogurt, mashed potatoes, basically post-surgery food. So I went back to my dentist, and she referred me to go see an orofacial pain specialist who first took x-rays of me and then made an appointment to go a year out and had another x-ray session. In the time that between those two x-rays, I had probably 5 or 6 appointments with him. He created this brace for me. I'll take it out and show you. So it's, as you can tell, I have a lisp without it. It's made of acrylic, and it has little titanium clasps on here. That way it stays in your mouth. I wear it all the time, and it creates points of contact for my teeth. So with this disease, it's very common for an open bite to progress as the condyles resorb. it brings this part of your jaw backwards, causing your back molars to hit right in the back, preventing the rest of them from hitting. So as you can see, I have a very open bite. There is no contact until my back molars without the brace. With the brace in, I have right through here is actually touching with the brace, so it's very, very helpful. It allows me to chew my food, which is one of the reasons it was so painful beforehand, because I was putting all of that force from this big, strong masseter muscle responsible for shutting your jaw. All of the force from that one muscle was going on these two back molars. So that brace has been very helpful. I would highly recommend getting one. They're a little bit of a pain in the butt. You have to brush your brace out after every meal, or you can rinse it out. I typically have gotten a little bit lazy with it, as I've had it for a few years now. I brush it with my teeth. Food does get stuck in it, but as a student, I'm not gonna take it out in that germy environment of a college cafeteria. It's just not gonna work. So after I got the brace, my doctor prescribed me and referred me to go to a physical therapist. He was a head, neck, and jaw specialist. For this type of disease, I highly recommend finding a specialist. A general physical therapist is not going to know a whole lot about this type of problem because it is so rare. I don't know if you guys have looked up any statistics about osteocondylar resorption, but it's a very, very small percentage of the population that has it. So they're not typically trained to do this unless they're a head, neck, jaw specialist. So my physical therapist worked with me a lot on gaining back my range of motion and decreasing the pain. The purpose of a physical therapist in this case is not to cure the problem. It's to dampen the symptoms enough for you to get to treatment, which is typically surgery. Which I'll talk about in another video, the surgery options, pros and cons of each one, etc. I've been through it all quite recently, actually. I haven't had my surgery yet, as you can tell, because I still have the open bite, but I plan to in the next 6 months. So, very excited about that. Where was I? Oh yeah, so I began seeing a physical therapist, and I gained back my range of motion. I went from only being able to open my mouth 2 centimeters to what you can see here, which is a perfectly acceptable bite. I can get food into my mouth. I am able to sing in the car again. Not well, but I can do it. And so that was a very drastic improvement on my symptoms. And then once the range of motion began improving, so did the pain levels. One thing I have found is that the more movement you can do in your jaw passively, so not chewing, not singing, just opening and closing your mouth, looks a little silly, but it's incredibly helpful. I'll explain the biomechanics and health of a joint in another video. I'm not certified to teach anything. However, I have done enough research to properly explain to you guys what a proper healthy joint is supposed to look like and how certain physical therapy exercises and things like relaxation, meditation, yoga can help improve that just simply by relaxing the muscles around the area as they're in such central locations that if one muscle is tight, it's going to have cause and effect on another muscle. So that was incredibly helpful and a very insightful experience for me. I learned a lot of adherence and just, I guess you could say, forgetting about what other people think and sitting there in the middle of class doing my jaw exercises because I have to do them so many times a day. But it decreased my pain to the point where I actually can eat potato chips again, the kettle cooked kind, and have no problems the next day, which if any of you are experiencing severe symptoms, you will know that that is a huge step. Often it feels as though we are never going to get any improvement, but I promise you, you will. Seek out a good physical therapist. If you talk to your orofacial pain associates, or if you are set up with a surgeon already, or if simply you look up head, neck, jaw specialists for physical therapy in your area, you can make huge improvements. I actually traveled for 2 hours there and back, so 4 hours total for each appointment for my physical therapy at first while I was not at school. But luckily my school was 20 minutes from the physical therapy office, so during college it has not been a major barrier for me. I know some people aren't quite as fortunate, and that can be frustrating and difficult, but your quality of life improves immensely. So that's obviously important. So at this point, I have decided upon surgery. There are a few surgery options, which I'll discuss in another video. I have personally chosen to go with total joint replacement, and I'll explain why in that video I was telling you about. That's sort of been my journey. After the second set of x-rays, it was pretty clear that I have osteocondylar resorption. My doctor had suspicions of it before, just due to the progression of my disease, how he could see my bottom jaw receding, my bite opening, the way that he had to make this brace progressing throughout time, and my explanation to him of the symptoms. It was very clear to him what it was, and then the second set of x-rays confirmed it. So you could actually see, I'm going to use my fist as an example. So my fist would be the condyles, and this would be part of your mandible, which is right here. The first x-ray, my condyle looked like this. The second set of x-rays, it looked like this, because all of the bone in the condyle area had reabsorbed into my body. A funny question people often ask me is, where does the bone go? Your body just breaks it down and uses it for other things, or you pee it out, or it goes elsewhere. It's not where it's supposed to be is the important thing. And there isn't a whole lot of research on this disease because it is so rare that it doesn't get a whole lot of funding, which, as we all know, money rules the world. So, and then, let me just see. The next plan of action was to go through a series of appointments, checkups, etc., just to be able to rule everything else out and make sure that surgery was the proper option. I'm going to be posting a few videos. I'll have my contact information on my YouTube site as well. That way, if anybody has any questions or wants to talk directly to me about any fears or any questions they have, I'll be available. Remember, I'm a student. I have a life. I have 2 jobs. I'm not gonna be available all the time, but I promise you, if you email me or if you call me and leave me a message, I will be able to get back to you. So far, I am planning to get my surgery on May 16th. So my hope is that I'll be able to do a video of pre-op the night before, as soon as I'm out of surgery and when I'm in the ICU, and then every day for like a week or so. That way you can see the progression of swelling and all sorts of stuff. I will be wired shut, so I won't really be able to talk, but I can put descriptions below videos and whatnot, so you'll still be able to see, or I'll have someone else talk for me. I know my friends would love to do that. Pick me apart in front of the camera. So I hope you enjoy this video. There will be follow-ups, and again, if you have any questions, let me know. Thank you.